My name is Aurora Bennett. 5 years ago, I vanished from the world, leaving behind my career, my reputation, and the man I once loved. I carried a secret powerful enough to bring down an entire empire. I thought I had buried the past forever, until the day he appeared right in front of me, in the hospital where I work, and looked straight into the eyes of the child he never knew existed.
Before I share the full story, let me know where you're watching from in the comments. Hit like and subscribe if you've ever faced something unbelievable for the sake of family.
The rain hammered against the window like 1,000 tiny fists demanding entry. I sat in the darkness of Liam's room, his small body curled against mine, his breathing finally evening out after another nightmare. 4 years old, and already he carried shadows in his sleep that I couldn't chase away. My phone buzzed on the nightstand. The screen's glow seemed too bright in the darkness, but I couldn't ignore it. Not anymore. They know you still have the data. Delete it before it's too late. No sender, no trace. Just words that made my blood turn to ice. I pressed my lips to Liam's forehead, inhaling the sweet scent of baby shampoo and innocence. He stirred slightly, mumbling something about dinosaurs and stars. My brilliant boy, always dreaming of things bigger than our small apartment in Seattle could contain. 5 years. 5 years since I'd walked away from everything. From my career, from New York, from him. 5 years of looking over my shoulder, of using cash for everything, of dyeing my hair and changing my name on every document except the ones that mattered. Aurora Bennett had been a rising star in molecular medicine. Now I was just Rory, a pediatric nurse who kept her head down and her past buried. The email shouldn't have found me. I'd been so careful. My fingers trembled as I deleted the message, knowing it was pointless. They'd found me. After all this time, they'd found me. I closed my eyes and let myself remember, just for a moment. The gleaming conference rooms at Strathmore Biotech. The thrill of breakthrough after breakthrough. The way Damien's eyes lit up when I explained a particularly complex genetic sequence. God, those eyes. Steel gray like storm clouds, sharp enough to cut through any pretense. We'd been unstoppable together. The CEO and his star researcher, the power couple of biotech. Until the night, everything shattered. "Mommy!" Liam's voice pulled me back. "Why are you crying?" I hadn't realized I was. I wiped my cheeks quickly. "Just happy tears, baby. Go back to sleep." But as I tucked the blanket around him, I couldn't shake the feeling that our carefully constructed world was about to crumble. I'd thought I'd buried the past 5 years ago. I should have known. Some graves don't stay sealed. 3 days later, I was running on autopilot. Check vitals. Administer medications. Smile at the children even when my insides felt like shattered glass. The pediatric ward at Seattle Children's Hospital had become my sanctuary, a place where I could lose myself in healing rather than destroying. "Big donor event today," Dr. Patel mentioned as she passed me in the hallway. "Some pharmaceutical giant. They're renovating the entire East Wing." I nodded absently, focused on updating charts. It wasn't until I heard the commotion in the lobby that something cold slithered down my spine. That laugh, deep, commanding, designed to put investors at ease while calculating profit margins in the same breath. No, it couldn't be. But when I peered around the corner, there he was. Damien Cross, surrounded by reporters and hospital administrators, looking like he'd stepped straight out of a Forbes cover. 5 years had only sharpened his edges. The jawline more defined, shoulders broader beneath the $10,000 suit. But those eyes remained the same. Predator eyes that could spot weakness at 100 yards. I should have run, should have clocked out early, claimed a migraine, anything. But I froze like a deer in headlights, and in that moment of hesitation, everything unraveled. "Mommy!" Liam's voice rang out across the lobby. He'd escaped from the daycare again, clutching the dinosaur drawing he'd made that morning. "Look what I—" He barreled into my legs, and I caught him reflexively, but not before his drawing went flying. It landed at the feet of a man in an expensive suit. Damien's suit. "Here you go, buddy." Damien knelt, picking up the drawing with care. His voice was gentle, the tone he'd once reserved for me in quiet moments. "This is excellent work. Is that a Tyrannosaurus Rex?" Liam beamed. "It's actually an Allosaurus. See the 3 fingers? T-Rex only has 2. Damien's smile faltered for just a second, the same way it used to when I'd correct him on some scientific detail. Then his gaze lifted to mine, and the world stopped spinning. Recognition hit him like a physical blow. I watched it happen. The widening of his eyes, the slight parting of his lips, the way his hand tightened on the drawing. But it was Liam who delivered the killing blow. "Mommy, is that the man from the picture in your box?" The color drained from Damien's face as he looked, really looked, at my son, at our son, those same gray eyes staring back at him, the same stubborn chin, the same way of tilting his head when puzzled. "We have to go," I said, scooping Liam up despite his protests. "Now!" But I'd taken barely 3 steps when my phone buzzed. Unknown number. My hands shook as I read the message. "If he finds out about the child, you're all dead." That night, I sat on the bathroom floor with the door locked, running the shower to mask my sobs. Liam was asleep, mercifully unaware of how his innocent words had just detonated our carefully constructed life. The picture in my box. God, I'd thought I'd hidden it well enough. One photo from our last good night, tucked beneath birth certificates and medical records. Damien in his tux, me in emerald green, both of us glowing with the kind of arrogant happiness that comes from thinking you're untouchable. We'd been so wrong. I forced myself to remember what came next. The Helix X project had been my baby, a revolutionary gene therapy that could eliminate hereditary diseases before birth. The applications were endless. The profit potential, astronomical. Damien had given me unlimited resources, trusted me completely. That trust had nearly gotten me killed. It was Vincent Marlowe who'd shown me the real data. Damien's mentor, the chairman who'd discovered him in business school and molded him into a corporate weapon. He'd come to my lab late one night, 3 weeks after I'd discovered I was pregnant. "Unfortunate about the clinical trials in Myanmar," he'd said, sliding a tablet across my desk. 23 infant deaths, severe genetic mutations in the survivors. Of course, these files don't exist anymore. My hands had shaken as I'd scrolled through autopsy reports, photographs that still haunted my dreams. Babies born with organs outside their bodies, bone structures that defied nature, and worse, evidence that Stratmore had known for months and buried it. "Why are you showing me this?" "Because you're going to be reasonable." Vincent's smile had been reptilian. "You're going to step back from the project, citing personal reasons. Maybe that morning sickness is worse than you thought." Damien would never. Damien does what I tell him to do. The mask had slipped then, revealing something monstrous underneath. He's about to sign a $3 billion deal with the DoD. Do you think your little concerns about side effects matter more than national security applications? Those were children. Those were necessary sacrifices. He'd leaned forward, and I'd smelled expensive whiskey and something rotten underneath. "Here's what's going to happen. You're going to disappear. Tonight. If you're smart, that baby you're carrying will disappear too. Because if you breathe one word of this to anyone, especially Damien, I'll make sure you're reunited with those Myanmar test subjects. Personally." The memory shattered as my phone rang. Naomi's name flashed on the screen. Dr. Naomi Price, the only person from my old life who knew where I was. "He's looking for you," she said without preamble. Damien's got private investigators turning over every rock in Seattle. And Rory, Vincent's still on the board, still dangerous. "I know." My voice sounded hollow. "They already sent a warning." "Then run, tonight. I'll wire you money. I'm tired of running, Naomi." I stared at my reflection in the mirror. 5 years of looking over my shoulder. 5 years of denying Liam his father. Maybe it's time to stop. I didn't have to wait long. 2 days later, Damien stood outside the hospital staff entrance, looking like a man who'd forgotten how to sleep. Gone was the polished CEO facade. This was raw, desperate, and dangerously focused. "We need to talk," he said. "No, we don't." I tried to push past him, but he caught my arm, gently but firm enough to make his point. "Is he mine?" The question hung between us like a blade. I could lie, should lie. But looking into those storm gray eyes, I found I was tired of carrying this weight alone. "Let go of me." He did, immediately. That small gesture, respecting my boundaries even in his desperation, cracked something inside me. "The cafeteria," I said. 10 minutes. Public space." He nodded and stepped aside. As I walked away, I heard him whisper something that sounded like, "Please." Damian Cross never said, "Please." The cafeteria was mostly empty, just a few night shift workers grabbing coffee. I chose a table in the corner, visible to everyone but far enough away for privacy. Damian sat across from me, his hands wrapped around a coffee cup he hadn't touched. "His middle name is Thomas," he said quietly. "I saw it on his daycare cubby. That was my father's name." Coincidence. He has my eyes, my chin, the way he tilts his head when he's thinking. Damian's voice broke slightly. He corrected me about dinosaur anatomy. "Do you know how many times you did that when we first met?" "Stop. 5 years, Aurora. 5 fucking years of thinking you were dead." The coffee cup creaked under his grip. "Vincent told me you'd been killed in a car accident. Showed me pictures of the wreck. I identified a body, for Christ's sake." The world tilted. "What?" "Closed casket funeral. I gave a eulogy." His laugh was bitter. "Talked about your brilliance, your passion for science, how you would have changed the world. And all that time you were here, raising our son alone? You want to talk about being alone?" The words erupted from somewhere deep and wounded. "Where were you when Vincent threatened to kill me? When he showed me pictures of dead babies from Myanmar? Where were you when I had to choose between my life and my integrity?" Damian went still. "Myanmar? The Helix X trials. 23 dead infants, severe mutations in the survivors." I watched the blood drain from his face. "Vincent showed me everything. Told me to disappear or join them. Said you knew. Said you were about to sign the DOD deal anyway." "I never... Aurora, I swear to God, I never knew." "It doesn't matter now. The hell it doesn't." He leaned forward, and for the first time in 5 years, I saw the man I'd fallen in love with. Not the CEO, but the brilliant, driven boy who'd wanted to cure cancer. "Tell me everything. Every detail. Every threat." "Why? So you can go back to Vincent and..." "Vincent's not going to be a problem much longer." The ice in his voice made me shiver. "I've spent the last 3 months investigating some irregularities. My grandfather's death, specifically. Sudden heart attack, right before he was about to vote Vincent off the board." My phone buzzed. Another unknown number. "You're being watched, both of you. Get out now." I showed Damian the screen. He was already standing, scanning the cafeteria. "My car's in the parking garage. We need to get Liam." "I'm not going anywhere with you." "Aurora." He turned back to me, and the fear in his eyes was real. "I just found out my mentor murdered my grandfather and tried to kill the woman I love. I'm not losing you again." The woman he loved. Present tense. After everything. "Liam's in daycare," I heard myself say. 3rd floor. We made it halfway before the lights went out. Emergency lighting kicked in, bathing everything in an eerie red glow. Damian grabbed my hand, and muscle memory took over. 5 years disappeared, and we were a team again. "Stairs," he said. "Power outage could be coincidence, but Vincent doesn't believe in coincidences." I was already moving. "Daycare's this way." We found Liam with Miss Patricia, the night daycare supervisor, playing with blocks by flashlight. My son looked up with those impossible gray eyes and smiled. "Mommy, the lights went off, but Miss Patricia says it's just an adventure." "That's right, baby." I scooped him up, felt his small arms wrap around my neck. "We're going on a bigger adventure now." "Is the man from the picture coming too?" Liam peered at Damian with open curiosity. Damian's voice was rough. "If that's okay with you, buddy. Do you know about dinosaurs?" "I'm learning." That seemed to satisfy my son. As we navigated the dark corridors, Damian stayed close, one hand on my back, protective but not possessive. We made it to the parking garage without incident, but I couldn't shake the feeling of being watched. "Aurora," Naomi appeared from behind a concrete pillar, making us both jump. "Thank God, I've been trying to call. The whole hospital system's been hacked. They're tracking your key cards." "How did you..." "I've been monitoring Vincent's communications since you contacted me." She glanced at Damian. her expression unreadable. Mr. Cross, I'd say it's nice to see you again, but under the circumstances... Dr. Price. Damien's voice was carefully neutral. I assume you're the one who helped Aurora disappear. Someone had to. The accusation hung heavy between them. Mommy, I'm scared. Liam's voice was small against my shoulder. We need to move, I said. Naomi, what do you know? Vincent's mobilizing. He knows Damien's been investigating. And now that you two have made contact... She shook her head. There's a safe house. One of my colleagues from Doctors Without Borders. It's an hour north. I have a place, Damien said. Security, supplies. Controlled by Stratmore Security. Naomi cut him off. Might as well paint a target on their backs. They glared at each other, and I made the decision for all of us. Naomi's place. But first, we need to get something. Aurora, no? Naomi grabbed my arm. The data's not worth... It's not just data anymore. I met her eyes steadily. It's evidence. Myanmar was just the beginning. If Vincent's willing to kill to keep it buried, how many more children are dying? Damien's phone rang. He answered with a terse cross. I watched his face change. Saw the moment his world shattered completely. When? A pause. No, don't do anything. I'm handling it. He hung up, looking sick. That was my head of security. There's been an incident at the Stratmore lab. Dr. Chen is dead. Apparent suicide. Dr. Chen, my former research partner. The only other person who'd had access to the original Helix X data. Vincent's cleaning house, Naomi whispered. I held Liam tighter. My brilliant, perfect boy who might carry genetic markers from a corrupted experiment. Who existed because I'd run instead of fighting. Who deserved better than a life spent hiding from his father's legacy. The data's in a storage unit in Ballard, I said. If we're doing this, we do it now. Damien nodded. My car. Naomi, can you... I'll create a distraction. Give me 10 minutes, then leave through the north exit. She squeezed my hand. Keep him safe, Rory. Both of them. As she disappeared into the darkness, Damien turned to me. I won't let anything happen to you. Either of you. I swear on my father's grave. Don't make promises you can't keep. I already broke the most important one. His hand brushed Liam's hair with infinite gentleness. I promised to protect you. Let me try to keep it now. In the red emergency lighting, with our son between us and danger closing in, I made a choice. Not to trust him. Trust was a luxury I couldn't afford, but to let him help us survive. North exit, I said. 10 minutes. He nodded, understanding everything I couldn't say. As we waited in the darkness, Liam fell asleep against my shoulder, trusting us to keep him safe. I prayed we were worthy of that trust. The storage unit looked abandoned from the outside. Rust streaking down corrugated metal walls, weeds growing through cracks in the concrete. Perfect camouflage for the most dangerous information in biotechnology. Stay in the car, I told Damien. If something happens, we go together or not at all. His tone brooked no argument. Liam stays in the car, doors locked, engine running. I wanted to argue, but Liam was already drowsy, curled up in the back seat with his dinosaur book. The car was armored. Damien's paranoia finally serving a purpose. 2 minutes, I promised my son, kissing his forehead. The lock was biometric, keyed to my thumbprint and retinal scan. Inside, boxes of decoy junk hid a small fireproof safe. My hands shook as I entered the combination. Liam's birthday, backward. Jesus Christ! Damien stared at the contents. External drives, printed documents, photographs that would haunt anyone with a conscience. How many trial sites? 7 that I found. Myanmar was just the most catastrophic. I grabbed the drives, shoving them into a backpack. The newer trials were subtler. Birth defects that wouldn't manifest until adolescence. Cognitive delays masked as developmental disorders. And Vincent knew. Vincent orchestrated it. I pulled out a folder marked with his signature. He was selling the defective batches to developing nations. Pure profit, since Stratmore had already written them off as losses. Damien's phone rang. Vincent's name on the screen. He answered on speaker. My boy. Vincent's voice oozed false warmth. I hear you've been busy tonight. Power outages, security breaches. Not like you to be so sloppy. It's over, Vincent. Is it? Let me paint you a picture. The lead researcher on a failed project, unstable postpartum depression, guilty over her role in tragic deaths, kidnaps the CEO's child and manufactures evidence to extort money. Terrible tragedy, but at least Stratmore's stock won't suffer. My blood turned to ice. He'd planned it all. Our deaths were already scripted. You're forgetting something, Damien said, his voice deadly calm. I'm not your puppet anymore. Aren't you? Check your accounts, boy. Check your precious company's books. 20 years of grooming and you think you can just walk away? Vincent laughed. I own you. I own every decision you've ever made, including the one to let that bitch leave with your bastard. You told me she was dead. I told you what you needed to hear. Just like I told your grandfather what he needed to hear before his heart gave out. Weak hearts run in your family, Damien. Shame if your son inherited that particular trait. The line went dead. He threatened Liam. The words came out strangled. I know. Damien's face was carved from stone. We need to move, now. But as we turned to leave, lights flooded the storage facility. Black SUVs blocked every exit. Men in tactical gear emerged, weapons drawn. Mr. Cross, the lead operative kept his gun trained on us. Mr. Marlowe requests your presence, all of you. These men work for Stratmore Security, Damien said quietly. My men. Vincent's men now, the operative corrected. Sir, please don't make this difficult. The boy doesn't need to see violence. Liam, still in the car, still trusting us to keep him safe. If we go with you? I asked. Mr. Marlowe simply wants to talk. Civilized conversation. The child won't be harmed. Lies, all lies. But what choice did we have? Aurora, Damien breathed. When I say run, the operative's radio crackled. Sir, we have a problem. The kid's not in the vehicle. My heart stopped. No. Mommy? I spun around. Liam stood in the doorway of the storage unit, holding his dinosaur book, looking confused by all the men with guns. I had to go potty, he said in a small voice. Everything happened at once. I lunged for my son. Damien moved to block the operatives. Someone shouted, and then the gunshot was impossibly loud in the enclosed space. Damien grunted, spinning from the impact, blood blooming across his shoulder, but he didn't go down. Instead, he grabbed a metal shelf, bringing it crashing down between us and the operatives. Run! He roared. I scooped up Liam and ran. The safe house was a veterinary clinic after hours. Naomi's friend, Dr. Sarah Chen, no relation to my dead colleague, working on Damien's shoulder with practiced efficiency. Through and through, she announced. You're lucky. An inch lower and we'd be having a different conversation. Damien hadn't taken his eyes off Liam since we'd arrived. Our son sat on the examination table next to him, helping by holding bandages and asking endless questions about blood cells and healing. Does it hurt? Liam asked, peering at the wound with scientific interest. A little, Damien admitted. But you know what helps? Dinosaur facts. Really? Liam's face lit up. Did you know the Therizinosaurus had the longest claws of any animal ever? 3 feet long. That's amazing, buddy. I watched them from the doorway, my heart fracturing and healing in the same breath. Naomi appeared beside me, iPad in hand. It's done, she said quietly. Every major news outlet has the data. CDC, WHO, FBI, everyone. Vincent's being arrested as we speak. It doesn't feel real. It will. When the families of those children get justice. When Helix X is pulled from every market. She squeezed my shoulder. You did it, Rory. We did it. I looked at Damien, teaching our son how to properly wrap a bandage. All of us. Mr. Cross? Dr. Chen finished her work. You need rest. And probably a real hospital, but no hospitals. Damien stood carefully, swaying slightly. Not yet. Daddy needs to sleep, Liam announced with 4-year-old authority. Then he froze, looking stricken. I mean, it's okay, I said softly, my throat tight. You can call him that if you want. Damien's eyes met mine over our son's head, bright with unshed tears. We stayed at the clinic that night, the 3 of us crowded onto a cot meant for one. Liam slept between us, one hand clutching his dinosaur book, the other holding tight to Damien's finger. I dozed fitfully, startling awake every time a car passed. Can't sleep? Damien whispered. Too many years of practice. I'm sorry. His voice was raw. For everything. For not seeing what Vincent was. For letting you face this alone. For... You were shot protecting us. I think we're past apologies. Are we? He studied my face in the dim light. 5 years, Aurora. I mourned you, visited your grave every week. And all that time you were here, raising our son, looking over your shoulder. I thought you knew. The admission came out broken. Vincent said you were part of it, that the DoD contract mattered more than dead children. I know that now. But then, I was pregnant, terrified, and the man I trusted most in the world had just signed a deal that would weaponize my research. I touched the edge of his bandage gently. I did what I had to do to protect Liam. From me. From Vincent. From Stratmore. From a world that would have used him as leverage. I swallowed hard. But I kept your picture, even when I shouldn't have, even when it was dangerous. Why? Because love doesn't die just because trust does. The truth hurt coming out. Because every time Liam tilted his head like you do, or got excited about how things work, or laughed at his own jokes, I saw you. And I couldn't hate you, even when I tried. Damien's hand found mine across our sleeping son. I resigned tonight, from Stratmore, from all of it. Damien, the company's going to need a complete overhaul anyway. Might as well let someone with clean hands handle it. His thumb traced circles on my palm. I was thinking about teaching, maybe research. Real research, the kind that helps people. That's a big change. I've had 5 years of being the man Vincent molded me into. I'd like to try being the man you fell in love with. The one who wanted to change the world for the better. He paused. If you'll let me. It's not just my decision anymore, I said, looking at Liam. He needs stability, safety, a normal life. I know, and I know I have to earn the right to be in that life. Both your lives. His voice dropped. Just don't disappear again, please. Even if you decide you can't trust me, don't take him where I can't find you. The fear in his voice broke something in me. This man who'd faced down corporate sharks and billion-dollar deals, terrified of losing us again. We're not going anywhere, I promised. No more running. 6 months later. And this, Liam announced proudly, is where the magic happens. I watched from the doorway as my son gave Senator Patricia Walsh a tour of the Thomas Bennett Institute for Ethical Science. At 4.5, he'd appointed himself official ambassador, complete with a lab coat that dragged on the floor. The magic? Senator Walsh seemed charmed despite the gravity of her visit. Science magic, like when cells divide or DNA fixes itself. Daddy says real magic is just science we understand, and miracles are science we don't understand yet. Damien appeared beside me, coffee in hand. He's gotten good at this. He's had practice. 3 congressional hearings, 2 documentary crews, and endless investigators wanting to understand how Stratmore's House of Cards had stood for so long. Through it all, Liam had been our unexpected joy. Too young to understand the weight of what we'd exposed, old enough to know his parents were helping sick children. Vincent's trial starts next week, Damien said quietly. I know. You'll have to testify. I know that too. I accepted the coffee gratefully. 23 counts of murder, plus your grandfather. We stood in comfortable silence, watching our son explain the importance of ethnic testing to one of the most powerful women in America. He meant ethics, but his enthusiasm made up for pronunciation. I have something for you, Damien said, pulling out a small box. Not a ring box. We'd agreed to take things slowly, to rebuild on solid ground. Open it. Inside lay a crystal pendant, multifaceted and catching the light like frozen fire. Liam helped design it, he explained. He said crystals can heal themselves, just like families. The fractured ones are the strongest because they know how to come back together. Did he really say that, or are you editorializing? 60-40. His smile was sheepish. But the sentiment's all his. I lifted the pendant, watching rainbows dance across its surface. It's perfect. There's an inscription. I turned it over. In tiny letters, truth makes us whole. Daddy! Liam came running, Senator Walsh forgotten. Did you give it to her? Did she like it? She loved it, buddy. Damien scooped him up, careful of his healing shoulder. Good job keeping the secret. I'm excellent at secrets, Liam announced. Then in a stage whisper, but good secrets, not the bad kind that hurt people. Senator Walsh approached, her aide trailing behind. Miss Bennett, Mr. Cross. The work you're doing here, it's going to save lives. That's the idea, I said. Transparency in testing. Ethics reviews that actually mean something. No more Myanmars. The committee's recommending full funding. 5 years guaranteed with option to extend. She smiled at Liam. Your tour guide here was very persuasive about the importance of making sure all kids get good medicine. After she left, we stood together in the lobby of the institute. Our institute, named for Damien's father, built on the ashes of Vincent's empire, dedicated to the children who'd paid for our ignorance. Mommy! Liam wiggled down from Damien's arms. Can we see the crystals now? Crystals? I looked at Damien, who was trying not to smile. In the conference room. We maybe got a little carried away with the wedding planning. Wedding? My heart skipped. Damien Cross, are you? Not proposing. He held up his hands. Just preparing. For someday. When you're ready. If you're ever ready. With crystals? Lots of crystals, Liam confirmed. Thousands. Because broken things that fix themselves make the prettiest light. I thought about that. About broken trust slowly mending. About love that survived betrayal and fear. About second chances born from truth. About a little boy who saw beauty in fractured things. Show me, I said. The conference room took my breath away. Crystals hung from invisible wire, creating a galaxy of refracted light. It was beautiful and excessive and absolutely perfect. Too much? Damien asked nervously. Ask me again in a year, I said, threading my fingers through his. For now, it's just enough. Liam ran through the crystal galaxy, laughing as rainbows painted his face. Damien pulled me close, and for the first time in 5 years, I let myself truly exhale. We'd found our way through darkness. We'd chosen truth over comfort, love over fear. We weren't whole yet, might never be completely healed. But like Liam's crystals, we were learning that broken things could create the most beautiful light. I love you, Damien whispered. Both of you. Always. We know, I whispered back. That's the real magic. Outside, a delivery arrived. A single envelope addressed to me. No return address. My blood chilled as I opened it. Helix X was just the beginning. Are you ready for what comes next? A friend. I looked at my family, at the institute we'd built, at the future we were trying to create. Then I folded the note carefully. What is it? Damien asked. Tomorrow's fight, I said. But today we have crystals and dinosaurs and each other. Is it bad? His arms tightened around me. Probably. I turned to face him fully. But we'll handle it. Together this time. He kissed me then, soft and sure, while our son danced in the fractured light. Whatever came next, we'd face it as a family. No more running, no more secrets. Just truth, love, and the kind of magic that comes from choosing to heal. The crystals sparkled overhead, casting rainbows on the walls. Broken things finding beauty in their mending. Just like us. 1 year later, the wedding was small. Just family, close friends, and the children from the hospital who'd become part of our extended universe. Liam stood between us at the altar, holding the rings and vibrating with excitement. Do you know why we chose crystals? Damien asked the small gathering, his hand warm in mine. Because my son taught us that broken things don't have to stay broken, I answered. That sometimes the cracks are where the light gets in. Above us, thousands of crystals caught the sunset, turning the botanical garden into a kaleidoscope. Each one had been hung by someone we'd helped, families who'd lost children to Helix X, researchers who'd found the courage to speak truth, survivors who'd refused to be statistics. By the power vested in me, Judge Hamilton said, smiling, I now pronounce you a family. Officially, this time. Damien kissed me while Liam cheered, and for a moment, everything was perfect. Then I saw her. A woman at the back, watching with eyes I recognized in the mirror. She raised a glass in silent toast, then melted into the crowd. Did you see? I started. Later, Damien murmured. Whatever it is, we'll face it later. Today is ours. He was right. Today was for joy. For Liam's terrible dance moves and Naomi's tearful speech. For celebrating survival and second chances. The woman's note would find me eventually, slipped under my office door a week later. Your mother would be proud. The work continues. When you're ready to know the truth about why Helix X really failed, find me, a friend who shares your eyes. But that's a story for another day. Today, we danced under crystal stars, a family forged in fire and held together by love stronger than any secret. Liam tugged on my dress. "Mommy, are you happy?" I looked at my son, at my husband, at the life we'd built from ashes. "The happiest," I said, and meant it. In the end, that's what mattered. Not the secrets still buried or the fights yet to come. Just this, a little boy who believed in magic, a man who chose truth over power, and a woman who learned that sometimes the best revenge is simply refusing to break. The crystals spun overhead, fragments of light dancing across faces full of hope, broken things making beauty from their mending, just like us.
Sometimes the truth can be terrifying, but silence is even more dangerous. Dare to face it, because only when we choose the truth and protect those we love can we truly be free. What do you think? Would you keep the secret or confront it to protect your family? Share your thoughts in the comments.